Alright, so today we're going to be taking some more science notes. Just as a reminder, we're pulling the science notes this week from the Science Interactive Notebook resources that I gave you right before we went virtual. The good news is if you don't have this is in Google Classroom as a PDF file. You just click the Classwork tab, you just click on the Science tab along the left-hand side, and then when you're in the Science area, you'll see Interactive Science Resource, and you click that and a PDF file will come up and you can print to your printer. If you don't have a printer, then you need to let me know so I can get this up at the office for you. So just like last time, we're going to cut this sheet away from the rest of the pack. So the sheet we're working with today is the one that has bones written on it. And the easiest thing to do would be to flip it over and just cut right along here. And that'll cause this paper to detach from the rest of the papers without messing with the staple. Then trim away the white border to make it as small as we can, and then paste it onto a sheet of notebook paper. If this sheet kind of goes over the paper, the edges of the paper a little bit, that's fine. But let's try to trim away as much as we can, because the less paper hanging over the sides and on the edges, the less likely it's going to get torn. Alright, so some of this is review before we get into labeling the skeleton, which is fun. So bones, what are they? They are the hard part of the skeletal system. I'm just going to put skeleton. So we do know, we talked about ligaments and tendons and cartilage, and those are, softer tissue. They're not this hard outer bones that we have here. So bones are referring to the hard parts of our skeleton. Some facts: bones, they are alive. And they can repair themselves. So when we injure our bones, like if we break our arm or something, we go to the doctor and they take the x-ray and they see that it's broken, but they don't do anything other than give you some tools to help keep your arm straight and keep you from further injuring it, and the bone heals itself. So it's not like you can take medicine or anything like that to heal your bones. Our bones are so cool that they heal themselves. Alright, so we have a picture of what type of bone here? A long bone, right? Because it is longer than it is wide. And it looks like the femur. Inside is spongy. Outside is hard. And there's more facts we could put in there. I just picked two that were interesting. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to label some important bones. Now we talked about how adults have 206 bones in their body. And you can see that we are not labeling 206 things here. Just looking at it, looks like maybe 16, 17, 18, something like that. I'll count it just to see how close I am here in a minute. So we'll go through each of these and label. Okay, so I counted. There are 14. I was close. Not really, but somewhat. Alright, so we'll start at the top. So obviously this is pointing to our forehead and continuing on into the back of our head. This is protecting our brain. We call it the skull, but we can also call this the cranium. That's the more scientific name for it. Now the cranium is a general term for the skull. It's actually broken down into different regions, like you have a parietal region and a temporal region, but we're just, like I said, we're not going into all the specifics. We're just staying very general in 5th grade. All right, then we have the jawbone, the mandible. Mandible. There we go. All right, this one is pointing to this flat bone here that's protecting an organ, which flat bones do. This one's protecting our heart. This is the sternum. It's hard for me not to say sternum because y'all know I speak German. When I look at a ST, I want to go Stern. All right. The next one is pointing to these bones here. These are ribs. Ribs are protecting our lungs. Next, we have the ilium, the pelvic bone. All right, this one's pointing here. These would be our fingers. Bones in our fingers, our phalanges. This one is pointing right into the center of where our knee is. That is the patella. These down here are also called phalanges. So these would be toes, toe bones. Now again, you can see there's a bunch of bones in the feet. We're not learning all those in 5th grade. Now, when you grow up and you're a nurse or a doctor, you may learn all those. I second majored in biology, so I had to learn it in biology. But for 5th grade, we're staying very general. All right, so let's move to the left side. I'm going to start from the bottom and then work my way up. So this one is pointing to this thinner bone, because you can see there's 2 bones here in the leg. Same thing over here, because whatever we have on one side, we have on the other. And the other one, the upper one, is pointing to the thicker bone. This thinner bone is the fibula. The one right next to it, the thicker, bigger bone, that is the tibia, which is our shin. Our shin is, when we touch our shin, that hard, firm area there, that's our tibia. All right, moving up. So just like the leg, you can see that there's 2 bones here in this lower part of the arm. And this bottom line is pointing to the one that's directly above the thumb. So running on the inside of the arm. And the one that's above it is pointing to the bone that's running down the pinky finger, or the outside of the bone, that side of the outside of the arm, the right side of our arm. So we have the ulna. So that would be the inner bone of our lower arm. And then we have the radius, which is the outer bone of our arm. Then we move to the upper arm, which I've mentioned this bone before, the humerus. And the last one they have on our sheet is the clavicle. That's this bone right in here. You can feel it like sticking, protruding out. You touch right below your neck and under your shoulders. All right, so that's our notes for today, and we're going to get ready to move on to the Google form, which is asking questions about what we learned today. Okay, for the assignment, this is just a quick check to make sure that you did what we needed to today. So it wants to know, what is one fact about bones that we wrote down in our fact section? And of course, that is this right here, where we wrote these 2 things down. So we have a list of 4 things. Only one of those things did we write down. And then number 2, which of these bones were not included in the diagram we filled in? So this would be the diagram here, and we filled in 14 of our different bones out of the many, many, many we have. And on this list, one of them we did not write down. Which one did we not write down? And then you make sure you click submit and go mark this assignment as done in Google Classroom. And if you have any questions, which you shouldn't, you can send me a message or an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can.